Today, I'm going to look for the oldest grave in the cemetery and research their life, so let's go.
There were many old graves, but most of them were unreadable. Some, you could read the name but not the year, and on others the year but not the name.
The oldest readable grave I could find was this one from 1860, and we can just about make out the name of Giles Walker written on the side. On the side it says of North Lynn and died January 21st, 1860.
This was enough information to start my research. Giles Walker was born in 1793 in Londonthorpe, Lincolnshire, to William Walker and Susanna Gregory. He was one of two children born to the marriage after his sister Elizabeth, who was born in 1787. Sadly, his father passed away in 1809, aged only 36. By the 1820s, he had moved to North Lynn, Norfolk, a long-forgotten village which was once just north of West Lynn. In 1830, he married Mary Briggs. They had their first child, Susanna, in 1831, and she was followed by Amelia in 1832. A son, William, was born in 1834, but sadly, he died an infant. Elizabeth was born in 1836 and Caroline in 1838. The next record I could find is a marriage to Caroline Crompton on the 12th of December 1944. Giles was now aged 51 and listed as a widower. Caroline was 21, 30 years younger than Giles. I found the family in 1851 living at North Lynn Hall. Giles is listed as a farmer of 700 acres. I found this wonderful picture of North Lynn Hall online. It was said to have been demolished in the 1930s. They had a son, Giles, in 1844 and Fanny Letitia in 1845. Sadly, Fanny died at 3 months old. A son, William, was born in 1849 and Emily Grace in 1850. I searched newspaper records and found their daughter Amelia had passed away in 1849, aged just 17. It said a stained glass window was installed in the church, dedicated from her 3 sisters. Our next step was to head to the church and see if we could find a window. The newspaper article said it was at the altar end of the church. I can see it says 3 sisters, so let's take a closer look. The window said, "To God and the Church," in memory of a beloved sister, Amelia Walker, who passed away on July 29, 1849, dedicated by the 3 sisters. It was a special moment seeing this with our own eyes. I also found reference to the family in an old West Lynn handbook. It said, the Walker family of North Lynn were worshippers at St Peter's Church, West Lynn. And one elderly resident of the parish remembers being told as a child by her grandfather that he could remember the Walkers driving from North Lynn to West Lynn Church for morning prayer. Before the final cut was made in the river, the parish of North Lynn was on the same side of the river as West Lynn, and the road which they would have came in their carriages is now Fox's Lane. The Marsh Cut was made in 1853 and split the parish of North Lynn in two. North Lynn Hall was now on the other side of the river. Giles passed away in 1860, aged 67. Whilst in the church, we found a plaque dedicated to his sister, Elizabeth Walker, who died on May 23rd, 1841, aged 53. I've also found this plaque, which is dedicated to his first wife, Mary. It tells us they had 5 children and she passed away in 1838. It also tells us her remains, together with those of an infant son, are interred in the burial ground at the east end of the church. So I think our next step should be to go and look for her grave. First of all, we found the grave of Fanny Letitia Walker, who passed away in 1845 as an infant. And between this grave and Giles's grave was a baby's tomb, and another headstone. Unfortunately, we was unable to read the epitaph, but it's likely it's his first wife and infant son. After Giles's death, Caroline went to live in Tunbridge in Kent. By now, most of her children had married. Emily was the only child not to marry, and she stayed by her mother's side until her death in 1915, an incredible 55 years after her husband. Our last stop is to pay our respects, so rest in peace, Walker family. You will be remembered.